It's Song Talk Radio with Michael, Neil, Phil, and the gang.
Greetings,
Earthlings.
Sorry. Let's start that again. Sorry, I had the wrong button pressed and got things going on here, and
It's like it's a live show.
it's almost like a live show. One more time from the top.
It's Song Talk Radio with Michael, Neil, Phil, and the gang.
Greetings, all there out there in podcast land. Welcome back to the show. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Along with me are some fine people. Mr. Neil Modi, how you doing, Neil?
I'm not seeing any fine people around here. I'm doing well, thank you.
And of course, Mr. Michael Proudfoot.
Good evening. I don't know about fine either. I'm fairly coarse.
That's true. This, of course, is the show where we talk about songwriting, tips, tricks, insights, and all sorts of stuff. But this time, it's all about our listeners. This will be our listeners' show. Our listeners sent in their response to our second annual songwriting challenge, and we'll get to that in a minute. First is I have come across, I stumbled across kind of a cool little tip. This is especially for people recording at home, because very often when you're recording at home, you might be playing a guitar or keyboard or a bass or something, and if you're futzing around with various bits of outboard gear or pedals and things, you have to play something and then, maybe, go over to the mouse and then, move something around and play again. It's very kind of awkward. And just the other day I was working on some stuff. I have a little art tube MP, Studio MP tube preamp that I was playing around with. And a couple of months ago, I bought like a cheap little looper pedal for like $30 off of Amazon. Mm-hmm. It's called, this brand's Lakato, and it's quite good. I mean, it's kind of limited, but it's quite good. And then I realized, if I actually just play my electric guitar into this and loop it, I can actually have the guitar playing all the time while I'm actually like moving the knobs on the various bits of equipment. So it's not like you have to sort of play something, stop, make a setting change, and then play it again to hear the changes. It's sort of going constantly, and it's really, really handy. Yeah. Because when you're changing...
That's a great idea.
Yeah, because when you're changing stuff in real time, you get a different sense of how the controls work with each other. Yeah. And what's really handy is, because I have an amp that sometimes I play through an amp in the basement. I'm always wondering how annoying it is to Heather, and she hasn't said anything yet. But, after a while, maybe in 5 or 6 years, she'll say, shut the hell up. Yeah. So I was able to play the guitar into this and have this looping, and then being able to walk around the house to see how loud the actual sound was.
So you can check and see at home how annoying you are.
I am. And I found out that if someone's on the second floor of the house, I'm actually not that annoying at all. Mm-hmm. But on the first floor, it is kind of annoying. So,
I see.
Yeah. And it's great. It allows you to sort of play with things on the computer without having to stop and, pick up the mouse and move things. And yeah.
That's a great way to get the right sound. Yeah, because you're concentrating on playing and then doing it secondarily. But yeah, use the looper pedal just so you get the guitar sound running through it and get it perfect.
And of course, you can even do this. Just record a little snippet into your DAW and loop it, and then play around like.
That's a little bit tough because if you're dealing with outboard gear or pedals and stuff, you have to
root out and come. Yeah, okay.
And it'll be different because it'll sound different. This is actually just this is literally your guitar that you've recorded, before it goes into anything. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, again, $30 from Amazon. Maybe we'll put a link on the site, a little affiliate link for people.
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
Maybe
you'll have to check out the show to find out.
That's right. Anyways, I was very pleased that I discovered that little tip.
That's
so
really clever.
That is a good tip.
Yeah.
We've got a busy show, though, don't we? We don't
That's
have time
true.
for any more tips, even though we're full of them.
Oh, right, Neil. So why don't you tell us about the songwriting challenge?
The
This is the
songwriting
second one.
challenge that we did this year was to write a song where the chord progression doesn't change. So you have the same looping chord progression, and the three of us shared our answers to this challenge back in January. Was it, guys?
Mhm.
And then in
Good
February,
God,
we shared the first batch of our listeners' answers to the challenge, but we got so many of them that we're doing a second show. And we've got 5 songwriters lined up with their songs as answers to this challenge. And we're gonna hear the songs and talk about how well they answered the challenge, and see what they got. And it's a great variety of songs that we received from our listeners. So we do appreciate you guys touching base with us and letting us know what you're up to. And we're really glad that a lot of the messages we received about this challenge is that everyone really enjoyed it and found it an interesting exercise to do. So we're happy about that as well, as we did as well, right?
Yeah, it was very educational and entertaining.
Yeah.
A note for the future or any kind of correspondence that you want to send in, and we would love to hear from you. Let us know where you're from, because now that we're virtual, we're also worldwide, and it would be nice to know where our listeners are situated. So if you wouldn't mind, when you send us something, let us know where you're writing from.
And Michael, where would people send that stuff to?
Oh, I got no idea. You can contact us at songtalk.ca. Go to the site, and there's a place to click on where you can send it. And also, feedback at songtalk.ca if you want to go through what's that? The email, I believe that's called.
All the kids are about the email now,
Oh my God, are they ever? That and the TikToker. You cannot send it by TikTok.
No one I heard about today on the radio. So TikTok's old news now. That was the new one. I forget what it's called now.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's already, I'm now officially out of the loop. It's come and gone, and I haven't even looked at it yet.
I say last year.
Exactly. It's this MySpace talk now, which is really
Revenge of was.
I thought it'd be mp3.com
Oh boy.
for any of those really old folks. Okay.
Napster, anyone?
All right, let's start off with a song by
let's get to it.
Tracy Day. Tracy writes, hi Neil, Phil, and Michael. Thanks for putting this challenge out there. It was fun to write to. Here is our song called Messing With My Head by the duo Higgins and Day. Jared Higgins, guitar, and Tracy Day, vocals. We use the same 4 chords, D minor 9th, G 13th, B minor 11th, and B flat 11th, B flat 7th, sharp 11th, I guess.
Yeah.
In the same order with an extension on the bridge for one of the chords. Hope you enjoy. All right, so let's take a listen to Tracy Day, Messing With My Head.
News messing with my head, heart filling up with dread, a glow I just can't quit, morning, noon and night, you know it, fiction that I'm living, my real life's being sold. Now people I never meet, nothing to do with me, living through them while my life's on hold. Down the wormholes, baby, click traps are set, come to look up something, what I forget doesn't seem to matter anymore, news messing with my head, down, out, and still in bed. Try, but just can't quit. Just a sec. 1 minute, need to make a living. But everything's on hold. Something needs to change, better happen soon, or else is what I've been told. Algorithms mapping my brain. Zombies scrolling, comment trolling, more of the same. Algorithms mapping my brain. Zombies scrolling, comment trolling, more of the same.
Very cool. Nice.
Yeah. And by the phone number, I think Tracy Day is in Toronto.
Or she took her phone somewhere else.
That's true.
Exactly.
I
She
thought
will locate her.
I like the change from the G13th to the B minor 11th. I thought that's kind of a little bit different, and I thought it stuck out, but it really was quite neat.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys thought?
Yeah, there's a couple of things about the song that I really found interesting and that I liked. First of all, her voice, which reminds me a bit of Beth Gibbons from Portishead, a band I really liked, a trip hop band from the early '90s. But it begins with the title, so I guess it's beginning with the chorus. But the rhyme scheme changes. Sometimes it's A and then not rhyming, and then sometimes it changes up. Yeah, it doesn't have a regular pattern of verse, chorus, bridge. But when you listen to it without paying that close attention to it, it all seems very organic and fits together. Yeah, I think it's just a really interesting construction that's got a nice vibe to it.
Yeah, I quite liked. I don't think the chord progression, especially that change you're talking about, Phil, I don't think it popped out quite as much for me because it all seemed very kind of smooth in the chords. I mean, they're obviously these guys are jazz musicians, right? I mean, 9ths, 13ths, 11ths, so the sharp 11. Like, I mean,
What the heck's the sharp 11th?
Yeah, it's like a fourth.
Is that crazy?
The octave, right? But even then, it sounds like you say, Mike. It sounds very smooth and organic. Like, and the way that she plays with the melodies. And like you say, the rhymes, it's it never gets boring, you know, like there's a structure to it. And yet there's a lot of playing around and fluidity and nothing sounds like, oh, that was kind of weird. No, it sounds like it falls into place. And it is kind of verse, bridge, verse, and then kind of a modified verse at the end. That is kind of the structure, which I guess is unusual from a pop song perspective. And she is right in that in the bridge they do hold on to that last chord for a few beats and then resolve back to the first chord. So that is how they cheated a little bit on the challenge, but still a great song. I kept thinking about that documentary on Netflix, The Social Dilemma. This would make an amazing end credit song.
Oh yeah,
that documentary.
And it is the second song entered into our Song Talk Challenge that uses the word algorithm.
That's right. So it's all about the algorithms now, I suppose.
Apparently so.
What they did really nicely is they used some wonderful backing vocals to kind of maintain interest all the way through, which is it's a really wonderful thing to do. And
sometimes they were harmonizing, sometimes it was an echo, sometimes it was a reply. It was really nice.
When you're writing on your own, it can be hard to think about backing vocals just because you'll be so concentrated on playing your instrument, maybe singing and doing the lyrics. But it's careful placement of backing vocals can make a real difference in a song, I think.
And keep in mind, this is a duo, so Jared Higgins on guitar and Tracy Day on vocals. So that I can only assume that lends a little bit of flexibility in that he can focus on that groove of the guitar and she can play with the melody a little bit more freely than if she was doing both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But background vocals always add more than the sum of the parts. You get a whole other feel to it, and you can really, perk up a chorus or make things. You can be you can use it very strategically to make your song structure much clearer. So when you're in a verse, when you're in the chorus, when you're in a bridge, just by changing background vocals.
Yeah. Quite a great little tune. Thank you, Tracy Day. That was
It was great stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks for sharing.
The next song is by Mark Ippolita. Sorry if I screwed up your name there, Mark. Hello, my name. Here is my submission for the songwriting challenge, where the chord progression never changes. MP3 and PDF lyrics are attached, as well as cut and paste below. The repeating chord progression is E flat, F, and G minor for all those scoring at home. Thank you and your colleagues in advance for your consideration. Hope to hear my song featured on the podcast. Kind regards. Thank you, Mark. And by the way, out there in podcast land, we'd love to hear what you thought of these songs, what your insights and your feedback was, and we'll share those in a future song.
If you guys were at the meetup a couple of months ago, Mark is one of the fellows from Seattle that's been coming to our meetup.
Okay, I was
He
just
at the meetup.
doing a little search online to see where
Yeah,
he
yeah.
hails from.
He does a
He shared this
meetup
song
well.
like 2 months ago on the meetup, so it's great.
Yeah, he does one as well.
Well,
All right.
I'm glad that we're cross-pollinating. It's nice to hear from him. All right, let's take a listen to the song.
All right, Another Mother's Son, the execution of Brandon Bernard by Mark Ippolito.
Brandon Bernard's hour had come. The court denied his stay. 3 judges would have saved him, but the black-robed 6 chose to look the other way. Like the night when the carjack turned ugly, he was told to torch the car. While he didn't pull the trigger, he was fingered at the scene, sentenced to death at the age of 18. So brother, can you tell me, where do you want this killing done? No, you can't turn away, it's the price you have to pay to take the life of another mother's son. At night the floodlights threw shadows and sometimes played tricks with his eyes. On slate gray clouds Brandon sometimes would float for 20 long years locked up in Terre Haute. 'Cause it's justice they want for the families, cold vengeance they seek for his crime. No, they won't be satisfied till he's wiped from the earth, cursing his mother an hour of his birth. So sister, can you tell me, where do you want this killing done? No, you can't turn away, it's the price you have to pay to take the life of another mother's son. The priest was summoned and the last meal consumed. The vigil was underway. The Buddhist, the teacher, the liberal, the nun screamed and howled at this murder most foul. While Durbin or Booker, not even Kim K, could pull any strings for Brandon. 'Cause the deck had been stacked, it was all out of whack. You don't get a fair shake when your color is black. So Father, can you tell me, where do you want this killing done? No, you can't turn turn away, it's the price you have to pay to take the life of another mother's son. Like raindrops extinguish a candle, Brandon took his last breath. Time of his death was 9:27. No gasp from the crowd, no jolt from the heavens. When he spoke his last words, though it mattered to none, he was sorry for what he had done. As we all watched him die, wanting eye for an eye, but all that we get is shame and regret. Mother, can you tell me, where do you want this killing done? Oh, you can't turn away, it's the price you have to pay to take the life of another mother's son. Ah, brother, can you tell me, where do you want this killing done? No, you can't turn away, it's the price you have to pay to take the life of another mother's son.
Whew.
What a great song.
Yeah, powerful.
Really nicely done. Yeah, it's it's a classic story song, but it's got a beautiful melody and so wonderfully presented that it just pulls you along for the whole story.
Definitely. It's very traditional folk style that way, that it's really
Yeah.
about the lyric, it's about the story. You know, musically it's quite simple and straightforward, but it's compelling because, like I say, because the story really pulls you along.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like he wasn't too tied to rhyme schemes, which kind of gave it a bit more of a natural feel. But every now and then they did. It's wanting eye for an eye, but all that we get is shame and regret. I thought was kind of a great line. What do you think, Michael?
I liked it. I was finding there was some like extra syllables that sometimes I wondered why it just didn't always flow for me. And I thought musically it was very, very good. Though over the course of the song, perhaps more dynamics or a bit more distinction, but because it did kind of stay at the same measured pace throughout. And other songs like this, I was thinking of Hurricane or Let 'Em Dangle, or, songs that are about true life crimes have a bit more of a
Contour.
yeah. There's a bit more shape to them. Mind you, this is a challenge, so there's a certain amount of restriction on that. But until the line that you'd mentioned about regret, until then, I wasn't really sure what the chorus was referring to. Who, if it was pro or con death penalty. I was, I know that this the man who was killed, Brennan Bernard, was one of the murder. I was going to say murders. The death penalty cases that went through in the last days of Trump's presidency. He rushed through a whole bunch of executions, and this fellow was one of them. And so the reason that people were against it was that he was 18 when the crime occurred, and he had been a model prisoner. that said, he had still set fire to a car and burned a woman to death. So, or she died of smoke inhalation after being shot. So it's not like he was an innocent in the crime. So I guess this is what I'm hedging my bet, because I think it's a really, as you mentioned, the melody is really good, but I don't know what I'm supposed to think at the end of all this. You know, like, am I supposed to be outraged? Am I supposed to not be outraged? It was so studiously neutral that I didn't feel that I came away from anything with this song. And normally, you know, lyrics can be ambiguous, but a song like this that is so narratively strong, I don't know, I just wanted a bit more clarity about the intention. But maybe
Interesting
maybe I'm
thought.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking now, if I didn't feel that way because I heard him talk about this song at the meetup, but when you look at the chorus, you can't turn away. It's the price you have to pay to take the life of another mother's son. I'm perceiving that as anti-capital punishment.
See, I'd see that line makes me think he's pro. Like, that's the price you got to
Interesting.
pay. You kill another person's son, then that's the price you got to pay. You're going to be put to death. That's what I meant about the ambiguity. It's not clear if he's pro or con. I mean, you probably know because you've been in a meetup with him and he's expressed his opinion about it.
Yeah, and I'm
But
trying to divorce
lyrically-
myself from what he had to say about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but lyrically, that line is one of the ones that kind of left me, what am I supposed to feel about this? You can't turn away. It's the price you have to pay. Like, you're going to be executed if you kill someone, even though he later says an eye for an eye.
Yeah, I didn't perceive the you in that statement as speaking to the convicted. I perceived the you in that as speaking to the government or to the people doing the execution.
Right. And I'm not sure that there was any, like, he also suggested that you don't get a fair shake when you're black, which generally seems to be the case, but that was not ever cited in what I read about this, that there was not any suggestion of racism in this, any more than there usually is, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Well, it's
No, I think it's good, but I think that's just perhaps something when you're writing a serious song about true subject matter, sometimes, I don't know, clarity is important.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I heard him talk about it before he presented the song at the meetup. So I know in his mind, it was a protest song. He was very adamant that I live in a country where capital punishment still happens and it really upsets me. And this is what came out. So I'm reading that into the song for sure.
So what is the price that you have to pay then? Who is paying the price and for what? Because that's where I'm left confused by this song.
I think,
so what did you take? Either of you, how did you take that line?
Yeah, I mean, I took it as in it's the price. It's the price we have to pay in terms, I guess, in terms of maybe just trying to get inside Mark's head. I mean, in terms of morality, in terms of, you know, in this case, maybe it was clear the guy was guilty, but it's not always the case. And capital punishment in general, not a very humane, good thing to do. And to take the life of another mother's son. I mean, I interpreted the last line as, regardless of what this guy did, he's still another mother's son. He still belongs to a family. He still is a human being. So that's the way I was interpreting it.
Well, we'd love to hear from our listeners. Like, if you're listening, if you're on YouTube, leave a comment or send us an email. It's an interesting point.
I'd be really interested to hear how other people took that, because it is an advantage to hear a song fresh or cold or however you want to, without having the preamble of the artist before.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right that you shouldn't need the preamble of the artist saying what it's about. I mean, in fact, you shouldn't need that. And, you know, a song comes on the radio, obviously the artist is not there to talk about what it's really about, quote unquote.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
and you can never control how other people hear your art, which is kind of the great thing about songwriting, is that they can, I think a good songwriter, that people can interpret in the way that they want to.
Very much. That's one of the things I find useful about the meetup is, you know, I write a song and for me it's not finished until I get the connection with an audience, because sometimes I think it's really clear I'm singing about this, and then I play it and get some feedback, and it's not at all what I expected, or it's not clear, or it's taken the other way, or it's perceived as being humorous when I didn't think it was, or vice versa.
Right.
So I think
And then you just go, all you
feedback
people are
at Meetup
wrong.
is great. No. Let me play it louder so you get it.
That's true. It's you can never depend on the preamble to get your song across, because people may not be there.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, but interesting
but
song.
a great, ambitious and adventurous song. I like that we get music that is also about things other than love songs, or it's nice to expand the universe of songwriting like that, the content.
Indeed. All right, moving on. We have an entry from Joe Faulkner. Greetings from Sydney, Australia. I found your podcast at the beginning of the year, and I've enjoyed the challenges and hearing listener songs. I play with a couple of other women in a band called Tired AF, which I love. Obviously, mothers. I thought I'd send a song into your challenge that mostly fits the parameters. The bridge does vary. My understanding is listeners were given a free pass to do this. Yes, because you're special. The verse and the chorus repeat through A minor, C, F, and G, starting the first verse with Anacreus, so that what is it?
What is that?
It's a pickup. It's when you start the melody before the downbeat.
Ah, there you go. It's one of them 50-cent words, I guess. So that the playing starts midway through the phrase at F. This gives it an unusual feeling of timing across the progression. The melody changes for the chorus, but the chord progression continues. The bridge changes, the chords being G, F, E times 2, F, and G, before reprising the chorus once more. The song is called Give Me Time. It could also be called the Introvert Song. Please find the stuff attached. It's a very rough demo using GarageBand. I'm still very much a learner at it. Best regards, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Sure.
And
in a future show, we'll be doing a whole show about how to use DAWs and things like that.
Yes, and GarageBand is actually pretty powerful. So yeah, it takes a while. Okay, let's take a listen to "Give Me Time" by Joe Faulkner.
Give me time with my thoughts, so I don't throw them like books at your head. Give me time with my moods, so I don't shoot them like bullets to your chest. 'Cause I'm not very nice, and I need some space to become who you like me to be. Ooh, oh yeah. When I'm done, I promise to be sweet. Give me time with my thoughts, when I know you're in the room next to me. Give me time with my moods, but not too far, and you can bring me a cup of tea. 'Cause I'm not very nice, and I need some space to become who you like me to be. Ooh, oh yeah. When I'm done, I promise to be sweet. to be sweet. I promise to be sweet. One day, I promise to be sweet.
All right, that's a
Nice.
great tune.
Yeah, terrific.
My only thought is I wanted to hear more of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
The bridge was so short, and I really kind of liked it. I was kind of going, I was hoping, they could have just repeated those two lines, and I think it still would have been okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very short song for what it conveys too. I think there's, I liked it a lot. There's a lot of tension and ambiguity that makes it very interesting, and I think it's a good example of, she apologized for being new to GarageBand, but if you have a good song, you really don't notice, limitations of recording. But I just found, Neil, you talk often of prosody, and this is sort of the opposite, because she's saying, I promise to be sweet, the implication being that currently she's not, but she's singing it in a very sweet voice.
Yeah. And
it's
the
almost,
verse actually gets kind of mean and violent, like throwing books at your head and bullets to your ass, and she sings it so sweetly. It's like, oh.
yeah, you wonder, what is she suppressing? And it kind of gives it attention that she's like, being sweet. Is it sweet through gritted teeth? And even the chorus, I need some space to become who you like me to be, is a little sad that you are giving up yourself to someone else. Like, is there no way that you can be in a relationship where you get to be who you are that's acceptable to your partner? So I just found it really interesting all the way through that for such a sort of a short song that is somewhat simple in chord structure, it had a lot of ambiguity and tension and a lot of depth to it. I thought it was really terrific.
Yeah, very complex emotions, and I think it's easy to write songs about relationships when they're new or when they're collapsing or at those sort of high tension, high drama points. And this is sort of from a mid relationship, where it's it's just like, I'm having a bad day, give me some space.
Yeah, I'm in a mood. You can bring me a cup of tea. That's it.
It better be hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
My only thought was, because I think this is a really nice song, and I think it could use a bit more work. And I thought the line, and you could bring me a cup of tea, it didn't really kind of scan very well, and it felt like it was sort of, like they hadn't quite finished off that bit. And it's a nice image and a nice thought. I just think it just needs to be massaged a bit more.
Yeah.
That
line. It became more conversational on that line, which made it sound like a throwaway or a direction. So I liked that it kind of poked its head out of the regular rhyme scheme. But I do get your point. Because it was the same thing that was kind of bothering me about Mark's song previously. Is like, sometimes I go, that's an extra syllable that's actually not helping. So you wonder sometimes if making it's not a cheat, or it's not selling out to make your lyrics scan. It really is kind of part of the deal, unless you're doing it consciously for a specific reason. But there's a reason why Leonard Cohen took forever to write a song, because he made sure that everything scanned perfectly.
I think it depends what you're doing. Like this song, as well as the first one we did with the Messing With My Head, Tracy Day song. They both have a lot of space. So you're allowed a little bit of latitude, I think, to play around with a line and extend it. Or I do see your point, both of you, that it's a little clunky there, but at the same time, it's not so clunky as I wasn't necessarily expecting it to fall, at the same cadence as every other line, because there was actually space to do it like that if she wanted to. So it's kind of, I didn't mind it so much.
No, nor did I. But I get what you're saying, Phil, that you can even make it different, but it still can sing.
Yeah, and I think it's, nothing wrong with breaking the rules, but make sure that you know why you're breaking the rules and be really clear about breaking the rules. because there's a difference between being, it's just to be intentional is
Yeah,
the key.
and that's sort of to the challenge. When I was working on my song for this, I originally had to get out of the chorus. I'd hung on a chord or two, and you guys had said no, keep it the same measure, and that was something more. It made it more difficult for me, but ultimately that was sort of for me the point of the challenge was use the difficulties because that's where you learn things from, and that's sort of the challenge is the fun part of it. And
Yeah.
even if it's not a song talk challenge, when you're writing songs, it's still, as you say, Phil, it's good to acknowledge the rules and then be really clear if you're breaking them, that you have a reason that's part of the song, as opposed to I couldn't think of a rhyme that fit,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
not what I'm suggesting Joe did here
No,
at
no.
all. But just in general,
But just in general, yeah.
if you're breaking a rule, it should be in service of the song, not because you can't get it to work.
Yeah, like if you're going to break a rule, you want to use it to highlight maybe a point or maybe a change in the story, or that there's a reason why you're breaking the rules, as opposed to
Yeah, fair point.
I just wanted to put this word in and it couldn't fit in.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That line does seem a little bit like, why is it here?
Yeah.
Are you breaking the rule here, kind of thing? But anyway,
Yeah, well, that's what I took from it, though. She's breaking from her song to make a bit of an olive branch to the partner that
Yeah.
she's warning away that, the melody, but you can make me a cup of tea. Like, it's like a little break from that just to, like, make sure that things aren't getting too vicious, or that the relationship isn't, I'm not fighting. I'm just saying
yeah.
stay 10 feet away.
Yeah.
I would like to point out
For me, I
that
thought that
Unless,
kind
of
of
course, the unsaid part of that is I'm going to like toss the scalding tea back in your face.
yeah, bring me some ammo. Is that?
Yeah.
I do bring Heather some tea every day at 2:30, so
Nice.
it's a good thing to do for someone.
Good thing.
It's easy.
Of course, as long as they like tea.
That's true. Here's some tea, even if you don't like it.
Phil, I tell you every day, I like coffee. Stop bringing me tea.
Okay, have some more tea.
Which, Heather, is not an impression of you, okay? Just that's not me doing an impression.
No, I didn't get that at all.
No. All right. The next song is from Sunny Zaman.
Zaman?
Zaman. Hi there. I'd like to submit my song for the 3-chord contest. Chords are D, C, G. And in terms of the songwriting process, I tend to keep a notebook of ideas based on what I'm feeling at the time. Very wise to do. In this case, it was a reaction to horrifying images of kids in cages, which is still going on, unfortunately. Other than that, I always start with a melody that comes to me somehow. I don't pick up an instrument until I've composed the entire song in my head. Wow. That's a lot. That's kind of the exact opposite of the way I
Yeah.
the way I do it. Right. So the song is called "The World Has Let Its Children Down" by Sunny Zaman.
Ooh, baby, since to be my lady, for we stood for what is right. its children down.
Great.
Great stuff. Sonny.
And you can get a lot done with C, D, and G.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, probably the most simple in terms of chord progressions, but
Yeah.
a very full song.
Well, the production was so good too, which helps, to.
Yeah.
But but very hooky melodies,
Yeah, aside from production, just melodically, it's great, and
Yeah, just a great tune, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think?
Yeah, I really liked it. It's it's a protest song, but it's kind of upbeat. It's not sad and dark like Mark's was. I really like the mileage he got with his melodies, but I mean, it's a very simple thing. The world has let its children down. Like it's not even it's a vowel sound. It's not even it's a word, but you know what I mean. It's barely a word, but that's really what gives him his difference with the chorus, so to speak. But in some ways, it's kind of. I mean, I've known Sonny for a long time. Actually, we're pretty good friends. He's one of the very first people I met at the meetup, like way back.
Nice.
And I've collaborated with him a few times, played drums on some of his songs and that sort of thing. And I know he takes a lot from the Beatles and from the Who and Pink Floyd and all those characters. So I mean, in those terms, it's hooky from top to bottom. Like even the verses are just as hooky as the chorus and really compelling. So that's definitely you took that from the Beatles, I think.
Yeah.
They're great at just like hook you right off the top and keep it consistent. Yeah, but the only advice I'd give to Sonny is I want to hear the world has let his children down a little bit sooner in the song. I think he could have done it one more time in the song and broken up the other verses.
Interesting.
A little bit more, maybe two and then the O's, and two and then the O's, something like that. But yeah, great. And I love the piano outro. It's
that is so cool.
The cool little ending.
Yeah, I love it. It's so darn musical all the way through. There's all these nice little details and nooks and crannies, and very enjoyable. Though I would have a suggestion, and this is I'll use him as an example as much as anything. When you're writing, like it seems overwritten, and in the first verse, Oh, baby, since you've been my lady, we've always stood for what is right. Now, when he sings that, it gets a bit really jumbly. You can say, we've stood for what is right, because since you've been my lady and we've always, make it redundant. You make the always redundant.
Oh,
And then the next line, can't you see that maybe this time we'll have to stand and fight? Again, you can get rid of this time because it's implied. It's like if someone asks you for the time, you don't say, what, the time right now? It's implied. That
which I'm
we'll
going to
stand
from now on.
that we're yeah, well, it's a great thing. What time is it? You mean now? So that idea that, oh baby, can't you see that maybe we'll have to stand and fight would scan better in the music as opposed to making his vocal melody a bit staccato. And I mean, that's a choice. It's fine, but it just you don't often see two lines where you see a redundance of.
Interesting point.
What the story is saying.
Good point.
And then the other thing would just be the chorus. Something that we've talked about before with this challenge, when you have a chord progression, how do you distinguish verse from chorus? And I found that the chorus was, I mean, the whole thing is great and is very musical, but the chorus vocally is also very staccato like the verse is. And I was kind of singing along with it. And you could sing the chorus with more elongated sounds to give it a bit of difference. Like it doesn't have to be let it tittle down. It could still, you could
Legato as well. Yeah.
You could sustain the vocal line on the chorus, and then that would I think it would make it sound more chorusy and full out. I'm just being a little picky, but especially that more to use that as an example for other people. In the first line, when you say, this time we'll do something, unless you've already chosen to distinguish this time from other times, it's redundant. Or, we've always, since you've done this, we've always, again, especially in terms of when you're trying to make your lyrics as compact as possible, be careful about when you're being redundant and repeating things that actually make your job or make the song a little gets in the way of you making the song as good as it could be. But minor quibbles. I think it's a terrific creation, and thank you very much, Sonny, for sending it in. Phil, what did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was it's an interesting point too. It's I've producers I have worked with have usually said, if you can take something out of a song, you probably should. Mm-hmm. So that comes, so if you have unless you're doing something very specifically for a rhythmic that you have a rhythm very clearly delineated in your song. And sometimes that's why you might add an extra word in to get that, those rhythms to hit properly. But generally, if you can take out a word, very often it works better.
Yeah, and there's a whole list of words that should never be in a song unless it's absolutely crucial, like saying just or still, or all these. They're just fillers that make the lyrics sound kind of equivocal, whereas you want to be as strong and declarative with what you're saying, generally, when you're writing a song.
That is true.
So when you find yourself adding a lot of these sort of indefinite or kind of they're not very strong words, they're qualifiers. If you find yourself qualifying what you're saying, then you need to look at how committed you are to what you're saying.
That's a really, 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 really good point, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. And of course,
finally, it only took 200 episodes, but I made a good point.
No, but I qualified it with 4 realies. Yeah. No, that actually is a good point, because basically what you're saying is it much as it kind of muddies up the melody and rhythm, it also muddies up the meaning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Songs are a very direct way of communicating. And if you find yourself putting barriers in the way, you need to look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a message in the comments or send us an email about what you thought about the song, because we'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah.
Right, so let's move on to the final song by...
Contestant.
I'm sorry?
Final contestant.
Final contestant, yes. Jeff Putnam. I have attached a copy of the lyrics. The chord progression is the same as the first verse. I think later On into the second verse, it looks like a G7, but it should be a B7 as above. Last spring, COVID came along, and with that came lockdowns, civil unrest, and the bad news just kept coming, and life was hard. So I decided to see if I could come up with something, and came up with the simple title, Life is Hard. In thinking about the style of the music to work with, my thought was, what could be better than a blues type feel to the song? The song is simple, but directly to the point, which is common in many of the old-timey blues songs. The fact that it is short also gave me a chance to work in guitar interludes without making the song too long. Thanks for listening to the song. I hope you enjoyed it. The chords are E, G sharp minor, A, F sharp, and E, G sharp minor, A, F sharp, B7, and E, or 1 3 5 2 1 3 1 3 5 2 5 7 1. So that's what those chords are, and let's take a listen to it.
Life is hard, there ain't no doubt. It's not take long for you to find out. Better times are just around the bend. So much in life can get you down. Not much hope can be found. Look around, there's trouble everywhere. Just read the good book every day. See what the good Lord has to say. Life is hard, there's trouble everywhere. Just read the good book every day. See what the good Lord has to say. Life is hard, there's trouble everywhere.
Fun little tune.
Yeah,
It was.
good old blues.
Yeah.
I love
just
the
let me
little walk
point
downs
out-
on the guitar.
Oh, yeah, very nice.
Beautiful.
I just wanted to make the point that he says, just read the good book every day. And in that case, you need the word just there for it to make sense.
That's a good point, actually.
And also it scans. You know, it's like, I just called to say I love you. That song would not make as much sense if it was, I called to say I love you.
Yeah,
But
That's true.
It's that sometimes just is justified.
yes. There you go.
Yeah, it's I liked it. I like the Ain't No Doubt and Find Out. I thought that was a nice kind of soft rhyme, but I thought it worked well. and you repeated the verse twice. And I thought, reading the good book every day, you could start off the second verse with that, but then the other two lines, it would have been nice if they were a bit different, to kind of give it a bit more interesting, because you were just kind of repeating it. And
yeah, I did find that curious how the first verse had like a lot of stuff in it, and a lot of, I don't want to say nuance, but did take long for you to find out. Better times round the bend.
yeah,
Not much hope can be found. It's a little bit negative, and then the other two verses, yeah, like you say, they're the same, which is kind of a curious thing. It's like okay, this is maybe going somewhere, but then it gets a little bit stunted by the fact that those two verses are exactly the same.
yeah.
There's not
I know
much
what you
of a story to
Blues
follow.
are challenging that way because you're playing a certain art form that's very structured, and so to find your way in it, it's a lot of the times it's a vessel for great players or whatever, or lyrically sometimes it's really where okay, the structure is familiar, so the lyrics take you places that you weren't expecting. And that is often, I find, in blues songs that I enjoy, you get some sort of surprise from the lyrics or from the playing or something. So in this case, to repeat I guess is that the chorus or is it the verse that's being repeated?
Verse.
It's another verse, but it's a chorus in the sense that it is refrained.
Right. Yeah, it's a refrain, I guess.
Twice.
Yeah.
So I mean, in some ways, I mean, the kind of obvious fix is to take that first verse, split it in half, then do half of the verse, just read the good book every day, blah, 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 then do the second half of that first verse, and then just read the good book every day, right? Then it becomes like a sort of A B format. But that sort of thing would break it up a little bit more.
Yeah. Those are great points, actually, I think. Yeah. Well, we had some great songs, I think, this time.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, and before you say goodbye to me, I just want to say, yes, we had the Song Talk Challenge, and we really welcomed you sending in your songs. Just because the challenge is sort of over, that doesn't mean you have to stop sending in songs. We really love to hear what you're doing out there. So please keep sending in your songs, even if they're works in progress or whatever. It's that communication and connection between you guys that we really enjoy.
Yep.
So just because we've stopped the challenge, it should not stop you from sending in what you're working on.
We did a show last year
about
our just listener songs that weren't challenge related. They're just songs
exactly.
that some listeners sent to us. So we're happy to do that again.
Yeah.
Especially a year of lockdown, I think people have had a lot of time to work on songs. We'd love to hear them. So please send them in.
Absolutely. Because that sound of the band means that's all the time we have on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to our awesome listeners. You guys are amazing. You can, we will put the lyric sheets on the website so you can take a look at those as well. And please send us your comments on the songs. You can send us your comments on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Song Talk Radio, or send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca. You can also check out the YouTube channel for old live performances and full episodes now that we're all in these boxes here. And you can subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. Don't forget to sign up for the free newsletter at the site as well. You can find links to all the products and books and services we mentioned here, probably like this little looper pedal, on the website as well, on the resources page. If you click into that and you buy something through that, we get a little bit of money. That's nice. And wherever you are in the world, you can join us for the next Song Talk meetup on Zoom. Free to join at meetup.com and free to attend. So stop by the site for the link, and I think the next one's coming up Sunday. There's a couple Sundays now, something?
End of the month. Yeah.
Something like that. And almost all, we'd like to thank you, the home listener. You can follow Neil at
neilmodi.com.
Michael. How can people get at you?
Let's see. Instagram, Proudfoot420. That should do it.
And you can follow me at the Phil Emery. songtalk.ca. Stop by the website at songtalk.ca to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest. Stay safe, everyone, and keep on writing.
So long.
Hit my mic. And is it?
And scene.
Good show.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Good.
Yeah, some really great insights too, I thought.
Yeah. Got some controversy.
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to be critical of anyone's songs. I just wanted to. Sometimes it's a good sort of entry point into talking about songwriting
Absolutely.
do's and don'ts, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we should do more of this.
It's all good. I think
I think so.
criticism's okay.
Yeah, because we're not criticizing. We're just, again, we're using it as a way of talking about songwriting and
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that we figured out
Yeah, as
along
long
the
as you pull
way.
some kind of a tip out of it, and then it's all good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And it all comes from a place of love.
because of love and concern. Right.
Not like we're
Okay.
telling the people that they steal
right.
and their mothers dress them funny or something like that.
Well, not to their face.
I beg your pardon? What?
Personally, is what I'm saying.
Neil, I don't care what people say. I like you. So,
Oh, gee, thanks, Phil.
Even if you wear your mother's dresses, is that what you were saying?
Mother dressing you does not mean that you're wearing.
Oh,
good
I'm
clothes.
sorry. I just heard mother and dress. I didn't quite understand how that fit together. I just knew there was some mockery to be had.
yes. All right.
If you can pull a tip out of the mockery, then we're all good.
I think so.
If you're going to mock someone, do it from
sure it's
3
helpful.
feet away. Yeah, make sure it's
Constructive
helpful.
mocking.
I was just listening to some Leonard Skinner over the weekend, and there's a song called "Gimme 3 Steps." I think it's off their first album or second, which is it's great because it's totally undercuts the macho bullshit of Southern rock. Because it's basically these guys playing pool or something, or dancing with this girl, and then her boyfriend comes in, and he's this big guy, and he's got a gun, and so the chorus is just, "Give me 3 steps, sir, out the door. Like, just give me a head start."
Right.
It's such yeah. So if you're gonna mock someone, give me 3 steps, then mock from a safe distance.
From a safe distance. Yeah, nice. Good stuff.
Awesome. All right.
All right, gentlemen, good show.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And what do we got next week? Is it Mikeland? Is that next? No, it's
Oh,
Garage
it's-
Noir.
Garage Noir.
I texted him or emailed him, and I still no submissions come through, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Okay. We may have a plan B
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah,
Okay.
we should have a plan B. Okay.
All right.
So we'll talk on Thursday about that one.
Talk on Thursday. All right.
All right, guys. Enjoy.
Take care, everyone.
Right.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.